Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Pioneer Prep. I'm Grimm from the Bug Out Boys, and the prep that we're going to be creating today is going to be your very own sewing repair kit. So I'm going to bring the camera in closer so you can see everything you're going to need to make this prep a reality. Everything that you're going to need to make your repair kit is right here in front of you. Give or take your own customizations of what you want to put in or out it, so let's just talk about the basics. You're going to need a container. I went with an Altoids tin because they're everywhere, they're inexpensive, I like repurposing trash, and it's crush proof. You're going to need a mountain bike inner tube, hot glue gun, felt, any color of your choice. I chose red because it pops more, tape measure, scissors, and a marker. So let's start making our repair kit. So before I paint the color that I want, I'm going to use a self-etching primer. That way it adds some corrosive resistance and also will give the paint something a little bit better to adhere to. That being said, if you don't want to paint your tin, fine. I just like to make it blend in with the surroundings. I don't want Altoids staring at me all the time. Set up an area for you to paint so you don't have to worry about overspray. And make sure it's in a well-ventilated area, of course, and get to painting. All primed and ready to go. And I'm going to be using this camo paint that I picked up. This is a field drab, but it's very well wearing, corrosive resistant, and I just like the color. So once again, short, thin coats so you avoid the drips. Time to cut the felt out for the lid. And it's going to be a little bit different. So first I've laid my tin on the felt so I have an idea of its size. I'm giving a little bit of leeway room on this back edge, and I will also on the sides because you have a lip here. So it looks about 3 inches. We'll mark that off. But before we move from here, we are now going to measure it this way. That's roughly about 4 inches. So we're going to add another 2 inches. So a full 6. Right, like so. So let's just make sure that we got this all squared off. I think I'm a little off on that one. Yep, I was. Right there. Because you gave yourself leave room, you don't have to be exactly precise. Take your scissors, cut it out. While the hot glue gun is heating up, take what you cut out, and it's time to start marking off the curves. You notice I'm not taking this curve. We're actually going to be extending this all the way out, and there's a reason behind that. Let's take this away. Let's flip it. Let's try and make this a little bit pretty. If you just want to shove it in there, by all means. But I always like things to be a little bit neat and orderly for myself. A little bit of a trim, but not too shabby. Hide our marks. What do you think of that? I think that looks pretty good. Hot glue gun warm enough? Okay, it's warm enough this time. Sorry about that. Bead right in this top edge. Yeah, that's much better. Get that in there quick. A second. Yeah, that's got it. Okay. Now this is where a little bit of finesse comes in, because this is where I have chosen to put my needles. And I guess you could probably thread them into here, but if you take the felt and you do that, actually I'm going to turn it so it's a little bit easier, bunch it up like that, you're creating something to stick the needles into. Now you can do one or more, however many you want to do right next to each other, or space them out. So you have options. The only thing that you do not want to do is you don't want it close to the edge, because as you can see when you close this, you're going to need that felt out of the way so it can close. So I think I'm going to bunch this up just a little bit. Actually, I'm going to go for the center. That looks pretty good. That's better. And we're going to bunch it up like so. And let that dry. And repeat as many times as you would like to do. Time to trim off the excess. Looks like I got a little bit more than I needed. But we're going to feel with our finger, and we're going to go on the outside of it. Because again, you can always trim down. Trim down. Ooh, and ready for the last bit of glue. Actually, rather professional looking, I think. Here's the tricky part though. We're gonna have to make a little bit of adjustment. As you can see, it has a hard time closing because of here. We can see the impact marks. No worries, whether you did 2 or 4 or just 1, we just need to get in here with our scissors and start trimming this away until it no longer impedes the closing. Bring out your felt, bring out your base, and this time we're not going to extend it unless you want to. If you want these down the bottom, you could do it there instead, but we're just going to trace around this, give ourselves once again a little bit of leeway. Spared you the excitement of me trimming it down to size. But now we will lay in a nice bead of hot glue in here. Make sure I get the corners nice. So come up. There we are. Lay it in there. That looks pretty good. You could stop here if you want, but I would have felt the outer rim, because one thing that I don't like about containers is when you have something inside of them, like, oh, I don't know, little spool, bobbin, it's in there. I don't like that. I don't like it rattling. So, we're now going to do this inner rim so it's nice and quiet. And the best way to do that, take tape measure. So that looks about, it's probably, it's 3 5/8. And that's going to be 2 1/4, but 3, let's see, we'll simplify it. 3 1/2, 3 1/2, 3 1/2, 7, 2, 9, another 2, 11, and a thickness of about 1 inch. Again, you bought tons of felt. So let's get this out of the way. Start marking this up. The strip is cut out, and what I did is that I put it in here to check for sizing, and I nipped off the ends just a little bit so it butted up very nicely as such, and the width was right on point. So let's glue this in. And I would take your time on this and just do section by section. Nice and finished and secure. So now that you have your case lined, we can start filling it with all of our essentials, our needles, up top here. Nice and safe. And I always feel that needles are one of the most important things when it comes to a repair kit. Your safety pins, whoop, lost one. Put them in there if you want, pin them up here if you like. Your bobbins filled with possibly some fishing line. I mean, this is 80-pound braided fishing line. You can sew with this, and this is very strong. So put this on a bobbin, put that in there. Spool or bobbin, either or, shove it in there, and oh no! I'm gonna have to find a smaller crazy glue. But put that in there as well. Stack it all up, close it up. You hear that? Exactly. Nothing. Barely anything. And for the finishing touch, grab your bike inner tube and your scissors. There we are. Make yourself a Ranger band. Close it up. Make it pretty if you like, but sealed tight and ready to help you fix the things that you need most when you're out in the wilderness. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you make your very own repair kit. And if you enjoyed this Pioneer Prep, please do subscribe, because there's going to be more Pioneer Preps, spots, reviews, and Bug Out Boy episodes along the way. And if you have any questions or comments, or more importantly, suggestions on what you put in your very own repair kit, maybe something that has gotten you out of a bind more than once, please leave those down in the comment section below, because I would love to read them, and you know I'm going to get back to you. So till then, take care.